Hey golfers, I'm Drew Mahowald, Second Swing Golf here in the tour van at Second Swing at Minnetonka, joined by Jake Montgomery, fitting manager at the Minneapolis store. Today we got a head-to-head iron comparison. Actually going back a generation with the Mizuno JPX line, we've got JPX 923 Tour and JPX 923 Forged. So kind of as we get into this, Jake, let's actually talk about the whole family first.
Yeah.
The whole JPX 923 family. What they've done with these JPX lines in the past is really built an iron that fits every single golfer. And then they added the HL model into this series as well a couple years ago. So talk to me about what you've seen just in general from the entire lineup, and then we'll dive into these two models specifically.
Yeah, I mean, you really hit the nail on the head. There really is an iron for everyone. Anything from the HL to this tour here, which is more of like a kind of tour model there. Yeah. Whether you launch the ball lower, need more ball speed, if you launch the ball higher, need a little more forgiveness, they've got a club for you in kind of every scenario. Kind of starting with that HL, super low center of gravity, 31 degrees aloft on that 7-iron. If you're a player that's looking for maximum peak height, it is a great iron to look at. I've had tons of success with it with slower swingers, kind of helping them improve that descent angle. With the hot metal, that is kind of their Goldilocks of the kind of line there. Yeah. Fits a lot of people. Very low center of gravity, stronger loft, so it kind of helps improve that ball speed. They've got the Hot Metal Pro, which is for your player that's maybe looking to get out of a full game improvement, but still looking for a lot of forgiveness. A little more tour-inspired shaping while maintaining that kind of forgiving head shape. Then you get into the more players models. Yeah. You got the 923 Forged. As far as a player's distance iron goes, this looks really, really clean and is very fast. So if you're looking for a more tour shaping, but still some forgiveness, lots of ball speed, the JPX Forged is a great way to go. And if you want a full-on tour model that offers great feel, tons of spin, ton of control, the JPX Tour is a fantastic option.
Yeah, that's a really quick, good kind of synopsis of the entire lineup there. One quick tech piece in each of them is the V chassis that's new for this series. You can kind of see it almost on the back there. The kind of that V towards the toe end of the club head. They made that, and the design there obviously is forgiveness. There's a little bit more weight towards the toe there for that stability when you hit it maybe out there. And then also 4335 nickel chromoly material, especially in the hot metal and forged models, to help with that ball speed, and that chromoly material has been kind of a big time winner for Mizuno. So today, focusing specifically on tour and forged, because actually back on our channel, when the series was first introduced, we did a swing report on the hot metal models, did not do the tour and forged. So we want to focus on these two today. I guess what do you see? What do you expect are going to be the differences in the test today? We've got some loft differences. We do have the same shaft in these today.
Yeah, so I would expect the forged to be a lot hotter, a lot lower in spin. This is 30 degrees in loft on the 7-iron. The tour is at 34. So I mean, that's a pretty large loft gap there. I still expect to see some pretty good ball speed from the tour, but I'd expect a lot higher land angle, more spin, higher launch, a little less carry distance.
Yeah, and then obviously probably on terms of ball speed and maybe forgiveness too on those miss hits, you might see a little bit more
absolutely
with the forged. Yeah. So, all right, we've got TrackMan set up here. Let's do a quick head-to-head test.
Let's do it.
Wow, first swing with the forged, and you just hit it 200 yards.
Yeah, this thing is hot. It really maximizes your ball speed there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not often that I see a 141 smash factor out of a 7-iron. It also tends to be a little lower flight, a little lower spin as well. So I have a player that really struggles with having too high of a landing with too much spin. This is definitely a place that I would go.
Yeah, okay. Wow, two pretty consistent shots there. That's 144 smash that time.
Yeah, that one felt pretty good.
So that had to have been right in the center of the club face. And we should note, too, the shaft that we're using for both clubs, Modus 120, stiff,
120 stiff
with both. I think you're still getting, despite the low spin, you're still getting the ball plenty high in the air here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So right around 100 feet. I know that's where you kind of want landing angles over 45 degrees. So still pretty good numbers. Just though, obviously, for those players that probably already spin the ball low enough, or lower as it is, would maybe have a concern based on this spin rate.
That one I chunked a little.
Yeah, a little miss there.
Yeah, spin came way down.
Yeah. So talk to me about, comparing the forged, because we kind of put that into the player's distance category, comparing it to others in that category, maybe size or looks-wise at address.
Yeah, so I mean, I'd say compared to like compared to the P790, which is kind of the most popular player's distance iron out there, this definitely has a little thinner profile to it, especially on the top line.
Oh,
I would say toe to heel, pretty similar width, but looking down at the ball, this looks more player's iron / kind of MB, MC style than it would like a traditional hollow body.
Okay, so it's kind of on the smaller end of the spectrum for this player's distance category.
Definitely.
Okay. That one was hit well.
That was shot pretty good.
Interesting. Let's get one more here.
All right. A little skinny on that one.
Okay.
Yeah, just push.
Just a little bush. All right, so we've got some numbers here. I know there's for sure that chunk that we'll want to remove.
Yeah.
From up here. So we'll kind of go, and then a couple maybe thin ones, but overall, we've got some stuff to look at here in terms of the forged. How about that spin at 4-4-4-4? So of these numbers, anything jump out at you? Anything that you kind of give a thumbs up to? Anything that's concerning to you? I guess.
I would say the 140 smash factor. It's always great to see you're getting that kind of efficiency out of a 7-iron. It was low spinning, but I still had a 45-degree land angle, so I'm not going to have too much trouble stopping this on the green.
Yeah.
I actually played the 921 version of this model in the past, so pretty familiar kind of look and feel for me. I switched out of it really just to kind of get my spin numbers up. But for a player that might cut across the ball and tends to have a little more spin, this can be a perfect club for him.
Yeah, and it sounds like just audio-wise, what I'm hearing, it sounds pretty soft. It's not the hollow body like loud crash.
Absolutely,
it's a very different build. It's still in the player's distance category, but it has it's Mizuno Forged feel, and of course it feels it sounds nice and muted too.
Yes, if you want a player's iron feel and a player's distance club, the JPX Forge is the way to go.
Right. So now, into the tour, what type of numbers, like what will change do you think, or what would you expect here?
I would guess my smash factor is probably going to come down to 1.37, a little less efficiency just because we have less loft on there.
Yeah.
I think spin's probably going to come up at least 1,000 RPMs. Launching will come up a couple degrees. Peak will probably jump up over 100, landing will closer to 47 to 49, be my guess.
All right. Well, let's see if Jake is correct here. All right, so right off the bat, we see the ball speed go down, we see the spin go up. You mentioned it was going to be 1,000 RPM increase. I didn't, I was like, that seems a little bit steep so far. Again, this is maybe a little open face shot here, which maybe contributes to that. But
yeah, I generally see the tour to spin a lot more than the forged.
Yeah. That one definitely was a little more squared club face. Probably will turn over some. Yeah.
Spinner, drop back down.
There we go. That's kind of also tells a story a little bit too that maybe golfers should take note of too. Is if you do turn that face over and hit that more of a pull or a draw, the spin will go down.
100%.
And then vice versa. If you're open face or hit a cut or a fade, generally generates more spin.
Absolutely. If you come with a closed face, you're going to show less loft on the ball and generally spin it lower. Or less loft on the club, I should say.
Pretty good looking shot there.
Yep, we'll take that.
That's a lot closer to that first ball. Just in terms of spin, height, I would say based on the smash factor, you didn't catch it perfectly, but it was still struck very well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's being nitpicky at that point.
This club at the ball, I can definitely tell it's a little smaller. Top line's a little thinner. Not quite as long heel to toe. But I also just noticed there's a little less offset on this, which to me gives you a little more confidence to kind of hit that little push cut.
Yeah.
Whereas I really felt like no matter what I was going to do, I was always turning that forged over.
Yeah, with those clubs with offset, they're basically it's a way of helping you, avoid the right for a lot of players that do struggle with that.
100%. That was probably the best I've hit this.
Yeah,
thing.
that sounded really good. Yeah, that's awesome. 137 smash, 52-22 spin. I think this is in terms of a player's cavity or a player's iron and a player's distance. Again, sounds it's muted, right? And it sounds like it feels soft, but the difference between this and the forged doesn't seem like it's that big to me. It seems like the forged is just that soft.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean,
that's kind of what I'm trying to express, at least from here. I'm not the one hitting, I don't know the feel difference, but they sound very similar to each other.
Feel-wise, they do feel very similar when you hit it like that.
Yeah.
When you can feel the mishits a little more in the tour, as it's just not as forgiving. But a well-struck ball with both feels very, very soft, very, very flush.
Sure. Oh yeah, another great one.
There we go.
I kind of don't want to. I don't want you to stop hitting golf shots right now. How many do we got up there? We got 5. Okay. Yeah. Let's roll with this. Got 5 good ones with each club to kind of look at here. Mm-hmm. So you mentioned you thought the spin would go up by about 1,000.
Yep. We
had really, outside of the one that was, kind of a pull draw that dipped to 4,400. Mm-hmm. It's probably pretty close. We really wanted to find out. It gets up there closer, but not quite. But still a pretty significant jump in spin, right? I mean, we're talking about 700 to 800 RPM. You mentioned the launch angle go up. It did a couple of degrees. The distance dropped, which, again, makes complete sense just based on the extra loft. Landing angle, you said between 47 and 49, 48.7. So Mr. Montgomery knows what he's talking about. What else you see here? I guess what are other things you're taking note of when you see the comparison between these two clubs?
I mean, the biggest thing for me is JPX Tour, the carry consistency. We're at 3.4 compared to 6.1. Yeah. I mean, that really is kind of what shifts players either into a player's iron or a player's distance. If you make consistent enough contact, you want less variance in your shots. If you're hitting one a little heel side, little toe side, you want something that's more forgiving because that's actually going to make your shots more consistent for that carry. So it really comes down to how consistent are you with your ball speeds.
Yeah.
If you're more consistent, you want to play something like this because it's going to go a lot more predictable distance every time. If there's some variance, getting you something more forgiving is actually going to help you keep those tolerances a lot tighter.
Sure, yeah. Because I would say with both of these sets of shots, you had, I think most of them you hit pretty good. Mm-hmm. They sounded great. They looked great. We had that kind of optimal smash factor number. There was maybe 1 or 2 that were maybe slightly off or slightly thin. Again, nitpicking. But you can see the difference in the north to south kind of dispersion, or the difference in those carry numbers. Mm-hmm. The Forged, there's a bigger spread there versus the Tour model, which was pretty consistent. So it kind of speaks again to what you're saying about if you are a kind of dialed-in player trying to hit your distances, the Tour is going to accomplish that a little bit more efficiently. But here we also saw with the Forged, there's more distance.
Yep.
And then what we would see too in testing, what you've seen in fittings, is that the Forged is going to be more forgiving on mishits. And
100%.
The feel-wise, it was more pleasing to you as well.
Absolutely. I mean, there were a couple in there that I hit fairly thin, and they still went a very good ways. I mean, I think they were both the ones that were kind of short right there.
Yeah.
I didn't catch those great, and they still carried further than I hit the Tour on some of my better shots.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it speaks to the forgiveness, speaks to how Mizuno is using the new V chassis. Mm-hmm. Again, more stability, especially on those kind of lower and or toe shots. And then in terms of the ball speed, I mean, look at you got up to 126 on the ball speed there, 126 here. So hitting the ball a long ways with the Forged, and then that's not even getting into if we were to do a full all-encompassing test with the hot metal models. You're going to hit those even farther with more 100%. Speed with these. So. One of the reasons we wanted to do this because we have a pretty big inventory and selection of JPX 923 Tour and JPX 923 Forged models at Second Swing, where of course you can go get fit with someone like Jake for obviously our used selection as well. So this is great here though, because I think these are models that a lot of people are kind of interested in. They're Mizuno irons, and then that just in general creates a ton of interest. So it's pretty good to kind of get these on. Both on the YouTube channel and to get a TrackMan test here. Any parting or final thoughts you have on these two sets here?
I would say just overall, if you're looking for feel and performance, there is a Mizuno iron out there for you. Like we said at the start of the video, anything from the Hot Metal HL all the way to this Tour, they all feel great. So no matter the skill level, we can get you an iron that's going to feel very, very soft, feel like a very high-performing iron, but kind of suit your needs in the day.
Sure, absolutely, yeah. Well, golfers, take heed of what Jake has said here, and if you need new irons, you're looking to upgrade, don't want to maybe spend absolute top dollar for something brand new. This is a couple really good options here. So the JPX 923 Tour or Forged models, secondswing.com, find a set or stop in one of our stores. We'll get you dialed in. Jake, thanks for coming in and hitting off the cap.
No problem.